Well, welcome to Fridays with the Dean, week 4 of lockdown. And like many of you, I am feeling like I am ready for a little bit of a change. But with the Prime Minister's announcement about what level 3 might look like as we go forward, I think that it will be a while yet before we will be able to gather together in person, and that for the next while our virtual offerings will be what you will be receiving from us here at the cathedral. We're in the week of Easter, having gone through a very strange Easter with services online, gathering virtually. I hope that somewhere in the midst of your Easter journey from Maundy Thursday to Easter Sunday, you felt like you were connecting with our story, our faith story, our hope story, the story of Jesus's life and death and resurrection, and that the offerings we brought you were helpful to your own journey with God. So I want to begin today by saying Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Alleluia. As I say that, however, a week after Good Friday, I've been pondering, what does the resurrection life mean in this time of disruption and chaos? What does being an Easter people really mean? And how might new life be breaking open into our community, country and world at this tragic time? These are some of my questions and ponderings this week, and I hope that from the reflections that are made and the discussions that will take place as we make this journey and beyond, that some profound, lasting and sustainable outcomes will take place. We will be changed forever by this event, and I hope we can learn from it and really be an Easter people who straddle between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, and that the incarnation of Christ will be alive and visible in our lives, for it is this hope that I believe the world is hungry for now. My fledgling reflections begin with the belief that Christianity must be a way of life as much as it is a system of belief. Our faith must cost us something. We must be passionate about it. It must be worth dying for. We cannot live anymore as culturally safe Christians. We must live as observant ones, belonging to each other in common cause, called to action, so that our faith is incarnated and alive in us, that we are shaped by love and compassion. As we live with a world that is changed forever by this pandemic, we should be feeling unsettled. We should be striving to find ways that we can rediscover our Christian faith as a way of life rather than a system of belief. We should be looking for ways we can be present in the hard, suffering places in our community and our world, but also looking for and actioning signs of God's kingdom arriving on earth, participating in the redeeming work God is continuing to bring forth. This kind of living and proclaiming is what I believe many people are searching for, who wouldn't call themselves Christian or even spiritual. We, as a Christian community, need to rediscover our way, take our Christian faith seriously, not as an add-on to our lives, but part of the fabric of our every breath. It needs to be coherent. It needs to be compelling, a compelling way of life for each of us as we are formed in community and express it in mission before it will be of any interest to others. Brian McLaren, in his book Finding Our Way Again, writes, "Those who reject religion are often rejecting a certain arid system of belief, or if not that, a certain set of trivial taboos or rules or rituals that have lost meaning for them." However, in this age of environmental sustainability, an unconscionable juxtaposition between wasteful luxury and crushing poverty, violence and anxiety, and intensifying conflicts that can avalanche into potentially catastrophic war, nearly everyone, whether non-religious or religious, seems to agree that we need to rediscover a viable way of life. McLaren advocates restoring a kind of sacred normalcy to the rhythms of life, such things as making prayer ordinary in our daily schedule, worship part of our routine, making generosity normal, normative and habitual, so that it is done automatically, making time for rest every single week, whether we feel we need it or not, as a matter of routine, practicing simplicity instead of consumption, countering violence with peacemaking. McLaren wrote these words in 2008. They seem to be, to me, as true now as they were then. What McLaren is suggesting, and which I agree with, are not new ideas. They are, in fact, wisdom from our early church mothers and fathers, which have sustained Christians and, in fact, helped them to thrive through many challenges and difficult times. So how can we live a viable, sustainable, meaningful way of life that sustains and transforms us and offers life and hope and peace and redemption to those around us? We need urgently to find ways to awaken ourselves to a life that helps us experience God and others in new and fresh ways. We need to keep these conversations alive. We need to be a people of action who are observant to God working in and around us, because the success or failure of this search will no doubt play a major role in the story of the 21st century. So my blessings and my greetings to you as we continue our journey as an Easter people, and ponder and reflect and look for the opportunities in our own lives and within the networks that we are involved in, to be people of faith, people of hope, people who bear God's love and God's compassion. So may God richly bless you this day and in the days ahead as we live apart, and yet we are in this together.